But yeah, it just makes you think, oh shit, this process is damn shag for the opposition because they already have limited resources and you want to build up your political goodwill on the ground. You have to be strategic about it. Right?
You have to.
Not everyone is like Tan Chuan Jin who can just run from door to door, you know?
Yeah.
There are
Cover a lot of ground.
There's like cover a lot of ground. There's a finite amount of
Cover
time.
too much ground.
That's why.
Even Parliament also.
Even in Parliament also, he running, keeping active.
Okay.
So yeah, it's damn shag as a opposition. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How's life, man?
It was supposed to be a restful week. I wasn't expecting it to suddenly get so hectic.
Oh, yeah.
The news just dropped yesterday.
Just dropped. And like no indication at all, right?
I mean, you kind of knew they were already
around the corner.
Yeah, it was around the corner. And if you are guesstimating that the elections is sometime between May and September, you know that it has to happen before then, right? So, it was dropped on us. I think, we weren't like, this wasn't on the cards this week, such a big piece of news to dissect, but we have to, right?
Yeah, correct. But I mean, at least it came on a day before we normally record because I think there have been times in the past we finished recording in the morning, afternoon, some big ass news comes out. So this timing was good lah.
And last night we were kind of like at an event together, right? I think there was a lot of discussions going on during the event.
Yeah.
I think we were even comparing notes about certain things at the event itself. But yeah, it was just everyone's talking about it lah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of buzz about it and it seems like time is near.
Yeah, I mean, even on LinkedIn, where, people want to bring their professional selves and all. Some people openly just saying stuff that, maybe a few years ago, people would never dream of putting on LinkedIn. But interesting. Things are heating up, man.
Correct.
Things are heating up.
Yeah, but I mean, that does make it exciting for us as well, right? I think the GE is going to be a big thing for us in the sense that we are excited to cover it, right?
Yeah.
Like how we did before. We know that since then the ground has changed a lot in the sense that there are a lot of podcasts, a lot of commentators,
correct,
everything about it.
Yeah.
We still want to do something special and different. And I think very in line with what we're going to be talking about, right? The new boundaries and everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, is that, are you tickling piquing the interest of the listeners or with that, a little teasing what you did, what you want them to do?
Yeah, I think at some point we will review in due course what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that much more comprehensive that involves looking at what's on the ground and all that, right?
No, I thought it was going to be your spiel for people to follow us on social media.
Okay, you want the standard spiel lah.
I was L-ing you up for the alley-oop.
Oh, shitty alley-oop. Let me spike it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're new here, please like, share, follow, subscribe. We had a lot of new listeners and I think views on the last video talking about Tan See Ling's Cantonese comment in Parliament. So if you're new here, he's the Indian guy, I'm the Chinese guy, and we're Yalabat, and we talk about
majority, minority. That's how people see us.
I'm very insensitive to his feelings. Yeah.
You always wear white.
But please share, follow, subscribe to get more of this goodness.
Yeah, and also to find out what exactly we will be doing during the general elections when they do happen, like what Terence alluded to, because we got some exciting stuff planned. Exciting stuff planned. And if you want to work with us, just check us out at ministryoffunny.com or drop us an email at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. The elephant in the room, man.
Elephant in the room, man.
What was this big news that dropped?
The EBRC report dropped yesterday afternoon. So EBRC being the Electoral Boundaries Review Committee. I think it was maybe like a month ago that PM Wong announced that it has been formed and they
convened.
Correct. Not
so
formed.
So the idea is it's like the Game of Thrones. They convene the committee to come together.
Like 4 or 5 of them, all very senior people who work in different arms of the government. And they come together, they convene to do this report and then deliver the report. So it was released on March 11th and it basically kind of shows how Singapore is going to be divided up for the next election. And I think everyone's familiar with the GRC, SMC, group representation constituency and a single member constituency. So basically group representation, I think there's certain things that they have to adhere to. I think max 6 and must have one minority candidate. Right. And for the SMCs, I think there's a bit more freedom to field whoever they want. Oh, and another parameter is the number of GRCs with a Malay MP cannot be more than 3/5 the total number of GRCs. I did not know that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, it was established in 1988 to ensure that minority races will be represented in parliament, which I thought has been there for ages, but no.
I mean, 88 is ages for you and I, right? Because we were like really young back then.
But I thought it would have been like from way back when we started having elections, not just 88. I thought even before that, it would have been around.
No. I mean, I always think of your sort of like coming of age and all that as like when history sort of begins
for you,
for anyone, like when you start being conscious of stuff happening around you. I guess 88 you were 4 years old or something. There's no way that you have been conscious of that, right?
No, but I'm saying from the perspective of Singapore, not everything concerns the individual.
It's a podcast. You can talk about your individuality.
But I wasn't at that point in time. At that time, I will talk about my individuality at other times, but not at that point in time.
People say the Chinese person insensitive to your feelings.
Yeah. See, again, now you're insensitive to my feelings, projecting on me that I'm talking about myself.
Okay.
But I was talking in the history of Singapore, But 1988, GRCs came into play. And I mean, why there's so much buzz and chatter online? And I mean, even amongst the political parties, especially the opposition political parties, is that there's quite a big change in the boundaries and the GRCs and SMCs. And I mean, like, of course, there are a lot of headlines and all that say it feels like there's a lot of big changes. But for you, did it feel like there's a lot of big changes?
I mean, when I looked at that map of the new layout of Singapore, right? That Coldplay song "Man in the Moon" just kept playing my head because it's the same feeling like when I watch a music video. I don't recognize this Singapore. It's completely different.
I was like, where are you getting it?
Okay. I don't recognize this Singapore, and it's I think a lot of sentiment online is that they're very shocked by how they've been Singapore. The constituencies have been sliced up, and people have been moved, and what used to be SMCs are now absorbed into GRCs and all that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of almost I wouldn't say confusion, but people are quite surprised, right? And like even myself, I had to go onto the website and check which just to make sure that I was still in the same constituency or what lah.
Yeah,
because just everything just like it seems like a big shake up, right? You're not sure if anything's changed for you.
I can't remember how it was in 2020. Or I mean, the years prior to that, I was not as politically active lah. But yeah, like what you said, it does feel like this is quite monumental. And at a high level, currently there are 17 GRCs and 14 SMCs. There are now going to be 18 GRCs and 15 SMCs. And instead of 93 seats being contested, there'll be 95 seats being contested.
Yep.
And there were a bunch of GRCs that were, split up. There were a bunch of SMCs that were eaten up by GRCs. So basically, to summarize, let's see.
I mean, there are 5 new GRCs, right? Newly declared GRCs.
Oh, sorry, 97 seats up for election, not
Correct.
95. Yeah.
But there are 5 new GRCs. Pasir Ris - Changi, Punggol, Jurong East - Bukit Batok, Marine Parade - Braddell Heights, and West Coast - Jurong West. I have to put dash there because, if I don't say dash and you're just listening to audio, you probably might think that I'm saying like more than 5 lah. But the double barreling tells you that these places will be put together.
Yeah, double barreling.
That's the word of the future. Your NRC or race double barreled.
Yeah.
And now your GRC also double barreled.
Double barrel. A lot of double barreling.
Double barreling.
And of the 15 SMCs, 6 are new. There's Bukit Gombak, Jalan Kayu, Jurong Central, Queenstown, Sembawang West, and Tampines Changkat. I mean, Jalan Kayu has its own SMC now, man.
Yeah, sure, man. It's known for more than just the prata.
Yeah, that's right, the prata. You can be sure that any rallies or anything, confirm got a lot of prata.
There will be some joke reference to prata.
Confirm.
Don't flip. Don't flip. Flip like Jalan Kayu prata. Yeah.
Don't flip. Correct. So I mean, like, there were certain things. Okay, so there's so many ways we could approach this. Of course, if you go online, there is a lot of criticism of the changes.
Correct.
There's the word gerrymandering being tossed about a lot.
Yeah.
There are certain constituencies that have come under the spotlight, and we can talk about that. But what stood out to you the most from everything that you have seen so far?
Stood out the most,
or just in general, because you've been consuming everything also.
Yeah, I think what stood out to me is, there is a report, the EBRC. There is an actual report that if you Google now, you can read it. Yeah. I think it's like 17 pages or something like that. Yeah. But shockingly, it's actually this version of report is very detailed and actually gives like a lot of rationale for why this slicing and dicing and sort of copy and paste and everything is happening, right? And shockingly, when I read the report, I actually felt, there is a logic, there is a method to this madness. So although my immediate reaction, and the joke everywhere is, gerrymander and all that, right? But when you actually read the report in its entirety, especially the couple of pages that really lay out the rationale for a lot of things, it actually feels, logical. There's certain parameters that they're working within, and they keep to those parameters. And because of that, this happens and that happens. And it sort of answered a lot of those knee-jerk kind of reactions that I was having to it. Like, for example, why need so many MPs? Why 93 not enough? Now not 97. You hear that, right? And logically, because each MP they try to lock three things. Like one of them is that each MP covers about 28,000 constituents. And now there are about 100,000 more voters, you see. So we need 4 more MPs. And that even mathematically checks out somewhat, So when I read it, I was actually, this is actually a lot more systematic and everything that I thought. And I thought, at risk of people accusing me of being pro-establishment.
You always like that,
Exactly.
You wear white, all talk like that.
I would say go and read the report and also understand some of the rationales behind it. Because they also talk about things like looking into the future a bit, like certain estates, there are new BTOs, everything. And the populations will start growing in those estates. And they need to cater for that when thinking about how that place fits into whether it's its own SMC or fits in a GRC. And so I found the report actually quite illuminating to read. How about you? Like, what was your immediate reaction or the first thing you did after hearing?
I mean, in some way, I almost, there's so much, things to absorb that it almost, I'm trying to caution myself against jumping on any one bandwagon.
Okay.
Because it's very easy when you go online, you see a lot of, gerrymandering mentions. And I think I don't know how many of them actually read the report.
Yeah.
Because I think this, like what you said also, right? The report is normally not this detailed, right?
And it's true.
It's true, right? Yeah. It's normally not that detailed. So at least that's a step up. It's very easy to kind of focus on a few things. Like I think Chee Soon Juan's SMC has now been subsumed into a bigger GRC.
Yeah.
So people are saying, because he put up a good fight, now it's going to reduce his chance of winning.
Yeah.
And then, Jurong or the west area where Iswaran and Tharman are no longer at, you can't just expect Tharman to win the biggest area possible, and that has all been split up.
Yeah.
I think that those things are worth pointing out. But I think what stood out to me the most is this process of electoral boundaries being redrawn so close to the election. Because, yes, it's redrawn. And, all the committee members, they are, I guess, civil servants.
Yeah.
Right. And then what you see in the few hours after is a bunch of opposition parties already staking claim.
They choke.
Yeah, they choke. And you can see the stark difference, right? Yeah. The more, well-known opposition parties, PSP, WP, and SDP, haven't announced where they are running yet. Right? They're saying, okay, we will study it and announce with you guys. But the others are like, choke, and they just go in food court. And Then I'm like, what is the rationale there? You don't even know who is running. I would assume these opposition parties would need to kind of have some discussions about, how to maximize their chances. Then it does feel like this whole process feels a bit off. And then I was just curious how other countries deal with electoral boundaries. And I haven't dived deep into the research, but it doesn't feel like I couldn't find any other country that redraws the electoral boundaries right before the election. As a contrast, apparently in the US, they do it every 10 years after the decennial census. I don't think that's tied to a particular election. Same Canada, there's a decennial census. India, they do it... I think in Australia, they are carried out by independent and non-partisan commissioners with the longest period between two redistributions not exceeding 7 years. So it feels like, okay, other countries do it because countries evolve, right? You know, when we reclaim land, we do this, we build up. But it being done so close to the election feels like, oh shit, so is this a common thing? I don't think it's common. So that's why I feel like, oh. Then it just puts questions in my mind like, is it all politically motivated? And you blame them, then it becomes like, oh shit, I guess that's what we're dealing with.
But when you're talking about that, that very often used quote came to my mind. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Right? And you mentioned yourself that you've thought that this EBRC thing was like since forever, right? If to you feels forever because you were 4 years old.
No, the GRC thing is from 88.
Okay, sorry. But this basically, the redrawing electoral boundaries has been part of the Singapore political scene for a while already. Right? So it's kind of, to me, I guess what I thought, the question in my mind was, then as say you are an opposition party, you kind of anticipate that this is going to happen as well, right? Wouldn't there be things that you put in place to kind of like try and mitigate the effects of boundaries being redrawn? In all the years that you walk the ground and everything. Say for example, right? Like I think parts of East Coast being subsumed into Marine Parade. And there was a lot of chatter about Marine Parade because of the Tan Chuan Jin issue, and then East Coast they won by a very thin margin, and that's why they're slicing and dicing it up and all that, right? But in some sense, you kind of see Workers' Party like establishing a foothold more towards the east, right? Spending a lot of time there and everything, and it seems like they probably understand that there will be boundaries redrawn, but the things we need to walk the ground on what we know now, but also anticipate for certain changes. So I think in some sense, all the political parties kind of already know that this is the game, right? It is, maybe it's not fair, right? Everything, but this is the game and we got to do it. We got to walk the ground and continue doing the thing. So is it really, I mean, for us as neutral observers, right, every 5 years we look at this and we're like, what the hell? But to me, like maybe as a political party, they're like, okay, this is how it is. And let's look at the chess pieces and move things around. So to us, it might be, whoa, it seems so unfair. But I feel like if you're kind of worth your salt as a political party, you kind of have to be ready for this also.
Spoken like a true majority citizen.
What was a majority citizen?
The same thing.
It doesn't apply. There's no race. There's no race.
No. Okay, let me say. The same thing. Yeah, it's like all the minorities in Singapore, they know this is the game. Where any Indian person worth their salt.
We never learn Chinese.
Why you never learn Chinese?
You know 70% Singaporeans.
You go in a meeting, you should expect people to speak Mandarin in your presence. But if you are worth your salt, you will have a Mandarin dictionary next to you.
You should be also speaking Malay.
Yeah, that's right.
You should be like multilingual.
Correct. Yeah, you're already minority. Then if you're worth your salt, So that's where it feels like, it's kind of like a dangerous thing also, right? To think that, okay, this is the game. If you want to do opposition politics, this is the way. I'm guessing in every country, the people fighting the incumbent are going to have an uphill task.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? So it might be the nature of the game, but it just becomes like, it just makes you think like, oh shit, this happens so close to elections, which doesn't seem, I haven't found, if anybody has found another country that does this. Of course, you can argue some countries, their elections are all fuck all, right? Singapore, at least there is that element of democracy that you can kind of believe in. What happens with the Electoral Boundaries Committee, that is the black box. And just now, you were right. The EBRC actually started in 1988 together with the implementation of GRCs.
That was a lucky guess.
That was a lucky guess. It was clearly a mistake. It turned out to be correct. But before that, apparently they were decided directly by the government, by the PMO, with no committee or independent review process. So it's already an improvement. I don't know whether there will be a chance for it to improve further where the boundaries are drawn by people who are completely impartial, not tied to the government. That's a bit tricky. But yeah, it just makes you think, oh shit, this process is damn shag for the opposition because they already have limited resources and you want to build up your political goodwill on the ground. You have to be strategic about it. Right?
You have to.
Not everyone is like Tan Chuan Jin who can just run from door to door,
Yeah.
There are
cover a lot of ground.
There's like cover a lot of ground. There's a finite amount of time.
Too much ground.
That's why.
Even Parliament also.
In Parliament also, he running, keeping active.
Okay.
So yeah, it's damn shag as a opposition.
Correct. I and don't mistake me as advocating for what we're doing here with the Electoral Boundaries Review. But I'm just kind of saying also that it's also a risk, you think about it, when they do this report, right? That if people deem it like, people like you immediately see and then, deem it so unfair, right? There are political points to be lost. I think we mentioned before, Singaporeans don't like bullies, right? I feel like if you overdo it, there could be a line that's crossed where people say, hey, cannot like that, completely unfair, you've rigged it, the whole system. I'm not going to, by principle, I'm not going to vote for anybody, even if it's like Tarman or whatever, I'm not going to vote, right? So we also cannot look at voters as like a monolithic thing where they all will just react a certain way just because things are cut up. Because there are people on Reddit who are like going to analyses of like just proportional analyses of like, how many polling districts were cut from Aljunied, and then when they're moved to another GRC, like what percentage of those people will vote for the Workers' Party. I mean, it doesn't work like that, right? And the thing is that the voters also evolve over time. They're more exposed to things on social media. A lot of voters, have grown up since the last election, grown older, started away. Families. People passed away. Young people who grew up through COVID, through Israel, Gaza, and things like that, they're coming to vote also, right? So there's political points to be lost even for the incumbent in doing this whole thing, and it's I'm not sure how much of a magic crystal ball they have in terms of information on how people will vote, but it's also a slight risk for them to just move things around if they think that it's just, this is completely in our favor and all that, right? So I feel that there is a political risk on even the incumbent side that I'm guessing they also they have chosen to take. They weighed the pros and cons and went for it.
Yeah. And I mean, apparently one of the guidelines, I don't think it's mandated or in black and white, is that the opposition held constituents don't change that much. And I think it was only Aljunied that had a bit trimmed off.
So like 3 polling districts.
Yeah, 3 polling districts.
It hasn't been touched since 2011.
Yeah.
So,
correct.
I mean, Workers' Party, their response was like, we will examine it. And They I think they just sort of noted that some of their own districts have been cut, right?
Yeah, but I think in general a lot of the parties have voiced criticism, SDP, PSP, But going back to what you said about the political points to be lost, right? I think it's symbolic of the sentiment of a group of the electorate in Singapore, I think no matter how black and white or clear the rationale is for redrawing the boundaries, there will always be criticism, right? And it's almost like, in Singapore, when you go to New York or London, when the train breaks down for an hour, people are, so Singapore 3 minutes late, people are like fucking end of the world already, right? So I would imagine when it comes to these kind of things, we are a bit more sensitive just because Singapore has trained us to be like that. So in this case, I think the bigger takeaway is the sentiment or the vocal minority of people who just are damn pissed off at this thing. So that's why I feel that can be one extreme.
Yeah.
The other extreme is this was all politically motivated, which you give it benefit of the doubt. Maybe they really stuck to the rationale of population increase, new developments coming up in future, we need to dedicate more. There's no way they can come out with a report that everybody's happy.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of buzz also because I think people are excited to see who they're going to be voting for, whether they're part of SMC and all that. And some, new SMCs sprung up like Queenstown and things like that. So everyone's like, who's going to run there and everything, right? But I mean, of all the new formations, you can look at them on a piece of paper like the EBRC report. But when you look at the Singapore map and you see the new electoral boundaries and all that, is there any particular area that stands out to you like this is one GRC?
Yeah, the Marine Parade, Braddell Heights. What the fuck? To me, I always thought Braddell is the other end of the world. And I mean, you look at the GRC also, it's there's one main part and there's one just thing reaching out into another area.
Yeah.
So that one is funny lah.
I think it's like maybe they took the line from the river to the sea, literally, because it's like Kallang River near the Bishan Park there, the Kallang River all the way to the Marine Parade.
Yeah, that is nuts, man. Like it's probably the most oddly shaped GRC lah.
Yeah.
And then like Pasir Ris is now huge because it takes Tekong also, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, but I think that that Marine Parade one was the funniest lah.
Yeah, it was. I think a lot of people are just talking about how funny it is. That suddenly their brethren in Marine Parade, you stay in Braddell, like practically in the middle of Singapore.
It's like, what the hell, man?
Your brethren got sea breeze, everything you don't have. Can you go and complain to your MP?
Yeah, that's like, they got sea view also.
Yeah, how come I don't have?
How come I don't have?
Yeah, but it is and yeah, just going back to what you're saying about the opposition parties chopping their seats, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that it's also logistically difficult because, I mean, after they do their plans, all that, at the end of the day, they still have to go on the ground and talk to people there and be seen and heard and everything, right? Do you think that any of these smaller opposition parties, did they get advantage by chopping so early? Like by just declaring their interest so early, like to alert residents and all that we will be there?
I don't think it's a net positive lah.
Why?
I mean, that's like, what are you basing it on?
Yeah.
And if let's say in the world of dating or something lah.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone just goes like, I like you. I like you. Yeah, I want to make you my girlfriend or my boyfriend.
Yeah.
As the other party, you'll be like, whoa. You don't know who I am. Whereas the more measured ones are like, I get to know you first.
I get to know you.
I'll let you know in a few days.
This reminds me of the orientation in JC or, that kind of thing, right? When you have the orientation groups and all that. Then there'll always be like a bit of jostling about, oh yeah, I like that girl. And then after that, then if another guy comes along and then says he like also, then what? There'll be a lot of beef and everything.
But even then, it's normally within the guys that, hey, I like that girl, you like that girl, I like that girl. Yeah. This one is like they're going up to the girl. I like you. And we all go on dates.
Yeah. Onward, Singapore. Let's make a baby together.
Yeah. So I think it just feels, so that's why it's like two tiers of opposition parties lah.
Yeah.
And some of them, honestly, right, like I'm thinking, wait, what do they stand for? Because opposition parties, okay, there's Workers' Party, Progress Singapore Party, and PSP, which is Long Man Wai, Hazel Pua.
Yeah.
Workers' Party, we all know. SDP, which is Chee Soon Juan.
Yeah.
There's the NSP. Then there's the SPP, so National Solidarity Party, Singapore People's Party, Reform Party, Singapore Democratic Alliance, People's Power Party, People's Voice, Red Dot United, Singapore United Party. Some of them, I don't know whether they are still alive or not, but things like, People's Power Party, their leader, Goh Meng Seng, was in the news recently, saying he'll clamp down on LGBTQ rights.
Yeah.
So, and I think it was these smaller parties that
not say clamp down, right? He one of the dangers of LGBTQ rights.
But in the sense
on the legal on the definition of marriage.
Yeah. So I mean, some way clamp down because he doesn't believe in.
No, but clamp down, you're saying that's the action he's going to take.
He doesn't believe in
that. He just doesn't. He thinks that it's dangerous.
Yeah, correct. So I mean, for you, like, would you hear like, how many? They even decide which ones they're going to run for, and all.
Yeah.
What do you feel?
I mean, we're not on the ground in some of these areas, right? But from just reading some online sentiments, people are like, these jokers every 5 years, they just come suddenly, make a lot of noise, walking around, but then after that 5 years, you don't see them again. So why the hell would we want to vote for them,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you kind of see that their priorities are more towards like, almost like, how gangs, this is my crib, this is my area, right? You don't come here, you don't sell your goods here, this is my area. But they're not really caring so much about the residents itself, right? Understanding how the boundaries are drawn and who are the new residents that are in the boundaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it just feels to me, when I see something like, oh God, the priorities are not about the people.
And I think the bigger risk is that it like if there's 3-4 corner fights in every SMC and all, it might not be strategic for the opposition parties as well.
Yeah.
Because you will always get some people who would vote for some party, and if it takes away from and dilutes the votes, that's not good.
Yeah.
And it never helps the smaller parties. So that's why I hope they, get together, discuss the strategy.
Every election is what they say, that they want to like get
consolidate
together.
And
but they always ends up having some 3 or 4 corner fight.
Jalan Kayu quite popular.
Yeah.
Everybody wants Jalan Kayu.
Yeah, brand name.
Brand name. Can you imagine all the free prata for the next 5 years? If they get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a first step. I didn't expect it to be. I mean, no, actually, you could almost foresee that whatever the report said, it would be hotly contested.
So what does this mean for the regular person who's, they're going to vote, but they're not like, digging into all these electoral boundaries reports and everything. What does it mean for them?
I think that election's coming soon.
That's it. As in, should they be outraged or anything? Or do you think they'll be outraged or really, do what we're saying, where they go and read the report and all that?
I mean, I think they will hear sentiments, and it'll be easy for people to just be, this one is all rigged, They just plan and all, which is dangerous.
Yep.
Also, if you just take it, this is the perfectly objective report, also dangerous. I think just understanding that this is how politics generally works.
Yeah.
I think growing up, you always hear Singapore is meritocratic, everyone got integrity, everyone got honesty, everyone is just, altruistic. Then as you get older, you realize no human functions like that.
Yeah.
Everybody has an agenda, and it's just playing that game and understanding the context of everything and questioning everything.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think that one thing is, hopefully, if anything, if people are unhappy about it, they do question the constitution of the Electoral Boundaries Review Committee, right? Like I think what you mentioned is that they're all very senior ranking civil servants in there. But questions about how they get chosen and why is it specifically this group of people, right?
Yeah.
There's something that I guess we could ask as citizens.
And also one thing, like every time there's a major thing proposed by the incumbent and all, including the budget.
Yeah.
We just had a week-long committee of supply debates for dissecting the budget.
Yeah.
But this EBRC report, right, is never discussed in Parliament. And it's never challenged, it's never questioned. Which feels like, I mean, every time there's a constitutional change, a new bill, even if it gets passed, it feels like there is room to, challenge. For this one, right, there's nothing.
I think it has actually. I think
is it
been mentioned by Workers' Party before.
That it is debated in Parliament before it's signed off.
Yeah.
I thought
no, you mean like, is it brought up to be approved or anything? No, but it's debated as in like the redrawing of boundaries is not very fair.
Oh yeah, correct. That is the process. But I'm saying once the report is out, because like the budget, the finance minister delivers a budget for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
There's 1 week, debating. Every ministry presents their budget plan. But for this, it is presented to the prime minister. He accepts it, and then the ball is rolling.
I mean, this is the start of a doomsday clock, right? It's where the government is going to be dissolved. After that, basically, voting who already. It means no government.
No
It means they're literally going to dissolve Parliament, and then after that, they're going to fight for the spots in Parliament.
Yeah.
So maybe there's, rather than spend more time arguing about it, is to just sort of like, grit your teeth and just get to work already, on the ground.
But then again, it's you just have to accept it.
Correct. That's why I'm saying, as citizens, if anything you want to ask is ask about the
process.
I mean, one group of people that I know surely will be super happy. All those companies who build light boxes and print signs, right? Because the redrawing of all the boundaries, they're going to change a lot of town councils and change a lot of names of like that. Oh, this is your town council, and the pictures of your members. They will be rolling in it. They're like, yes, so many changes. Yes.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But for the rest of us, not so much.
Not so much. But I mean, like what you said, this is the doomsday clock that's ticking.
Yeah.
The next milestone is issuing the writ of election, right? The WRIT.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the last GE, it was 3 months.
Yeah. But that was because of
COVID and all that.
There was COVID.
3.5 months.
COVID. But then 2001 was the big scary one. 1 day. Yeah.
So the report comes out the next day. They're like, yo, man, Parliament's dissolved. and the election is going to happen soon.
That's why everyone's caught off guard. Maybe that's why Lim Tian rushed to go and choke all the spots.
Got one day. Got one day.
24 hours.
It's like the people, the MRT door open, they come in, they're like,
oh, yeah. Find a seat.
That's like Lim Tian and Co.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
But yeah,
start of the doomsday clock.
But so if a lot of the pundits' assessments are correct, May looks like a very, very likely time for the election. But in May, there's also going to be something very monumental happening in Singapore during the same month. That is also, gotten people's tongues wagging, right?
Yeah.
And what is this big event?
It is that superstar singer and actress Lady Gaga will be performing at the National Stadium in May with 4 shows. And it is her only stop in Asia during her worldwide tour. But the bigger revelation, or a big enough revelation, is that Tong himself has said that the government has not provided subsidies to secure her concerts in Singapore. Unlike Taylor Swift, where it became a hot topic, even
$3 million.
Yeah, and even ruffles a lot of feathers around the region. But in this case, they're saying no subsidies. Lady Gaga came out of her own free will. No carrots were dangled. She just came on her own.
Just going back to the analogy of like chopping girl and that, it's like, she's only with you for the money. No.
She wants me.
She wants me. She said she loves me. There was even a prenup signed.
Yeah. Not one night, not 2 nights, not 3 nights, but 4 nights. Anyone else in Asia? No. It's just me.
It's the kind of thing that shuts down any kind of criticism.
Yeah.
Mic drop moment.
Then you look at Lady Gaga, you're like, hey, Taylor Swift got grants now. You go ask for grant.
She's like, what? Give me the grant form now.
What? But I was surprised that, first of all, she can do 4 nights at National Stadium.
You were surprised because of?
I mean, Lady Gaga is huge, but she hasn't been huge for the past few years.
Why? Just because you don't like it doesn't mean she's not huge, right?
I mean, at one point she would dominate the Grammys.
Correct,
and she would dominate, she'd always be in the news. When was the last time you saw her in the news?
I mean, her news, quite recent song, Die With A Smile with Bruno Mars. That was a big hit. Is it? And a lot of people loved it, yeah. A lot, I mean, I like it a lot.
So for you, 4 nights, definitely no problem, National Stadium. I guess because the region...
Yeah, people are going to fly from the region. It totally makes sense. Yeah.
Apparently, Agoda saw 300% spike in hotel searches for Singapore that day.
Because there is news in Jakarta newspaper and all that. They are very disappointed,
again, I'm pissed off at Singapore.
Like the headline on South China Morning Post, Indonesian Lady Gaga fans heartbroken as religious hardliners blamed for the snub. Because, I think in 2012, she, if I'm not wrong, she had a concert cancelled because some religious hardliners protested her presence. And then, I mean, Thailand last time was very upset about Taylor Swift, right? I think it was a Thai PM who actually told the world that Singapore paid Taylor Swift for it. So I'm guessing people around the region, at least like the politicians and all, are quite heartbroken. I think there was even an article on South China Morning Post about what can Hong Kong do as Singapore secures Lady Gaga for latest superstar gigs. So even Hong Kong also.
I mean, really kudos to Singapore for
Chasm, KASM.
Chasm, and I guess Tong also and his team. If this is now it's Singles Inferno. I guess now we can talk about it. Remember that one character, Sian, the girl who were all the guys lusting over her? Singapore is Sian. Singapore is Sian.
So you're going to say Lady Gaga is Sian and then she chose
No. Singapore is Sian. Everybody wants a piece of her. Then after a while, you're like, hey, just Sian, just shut up, okay? But I think it is it's once you get Taylor Swift, Coldplay, Lady Gaga, then you think every other superstar who comes to the region, they already know, Singapore that good. I remember Lady Gaga in her WhatsApp group of other superstars, Singapore is dope, man. I pass you Tong's number. Then just form a WhatsApp group with him,
How's the MBS suite? Good.
Shiok, bro. Shiok, man. I tell you, Shiok.
You got to try this restaurant. She's like, hey, Taylor, any recommendations?
This
restaurant MBS, very shiok. Wow.
The infinity pool, go at 3 a.m. when there's no one there, So, I mean, interesting, but then you think the country is right to be angry?
I think hard because I think the last time, the fact that there was a monetary exchange and a grant and everything, it made everyone sit up and realize, oh, this is how the game is going to be played, right? Where you offer money and all these things. But in this case, it's like, no, there was no money involved. So what can you say?
Yeah.
It's not as simple as like, I just invite someone and then they just come already, right? There's a whole logistical thing involved. And the funny thing is, there's a lot of complaints from Jakarta, right? But apparently, as recent as November 2024, Dua Lipa had to cancel a concert in Jakarta because of security and stage issues. Logistically, the stage was not safe. She was in Jakarta already, but they said that, oh, sorry, I think we can't perform because it's not safe. So, I mean, it goes beyond money. It goes beyond money. It's literally like, you're a star, you want to just come to a place and just perform for your fans. And then you see, I don't know, Taylor Swift do it 6 nights in a row, full house, packed, everyone still loves her. Even whatever negative press or what, it was just outbalanced by how much everyone enjoyed it, right? Why would you take any risk, right? Yeah.
Wow. But I mean, even like, they never go Japan, never go Korea. Never go. Yeah, this is the Asia stop, no?
Yeah. I mean, the last time she came was, I think, 2009 to Lady Gaga, or was there a more recent concert? I'm not sure. But but I mean, it could be that she comes to Singapore this round, but there could be another tour next time she goes to Japan or something. Because Japan and Korea are big stops also, right? You can't deny that.
That's why.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you imagine if it reaches a point where Singapore gets more and more leverage, negotiating leverage with the superstars, right? And whenever they come, they're like, okay, you're going to do music video in Singapore. You're going to show ice sledding on Fort Canning.
Yeah.
And Lady Gaga is like, okay,
ice sledding.
Every year, there'll be one song by the superstar from the previous year. Then why you want to get banking to do NDP song?
Yeah. Just get
Lady Gaga, Coldplay, whoever comes to do NDP song.
Okay, I think it's a bit of a stretch to ask them to do the NDP song, but I guarantee that the Coldplay song will be played somewhere during NDP. Guaranteed. Yeah.
Then people cannot say, hey, you got the rights for this or not.
Yeah. Exactly. It's probably part of the negotiation.
Maybe ice sledding,
Ice sledding. Usually it's a march in, but then now it's all the commandos ice sled into the Padang.
Yeah, that's right.
Padang are more perfect.
And another thing this reveals is like, May 18, 19, 21, 24, you think this will be like post-election celebration or pre-election warm-up?
I was just thinking of that, right? Singapore looks like a very different place during the hustings period.
Yeah.
Because of all the posters that go up and all that, right? I don't know if that's something that you want visitors to see, in the sense that, oh, look at our democracy flourishing. Or do you want to just see, clean and green Singapore and everything, right?
Everything in order.
So a bit of a risk, to sort of like have the elections be going on while the Lady Gaga concerts are ongoing.
Yeah.
So it kind of like, if the election's happening in May, kind of rounds it down to a couple of, eliminates at least one week, I would say.
Yeah. But I mean, I think what you say is true, because if you imagine, even if you're the incumbent, you're like, hey, shit, suddenly Chief Soon Juan goes with his loud hailer to the Lady Gaga concert,
that's a low blow. Why you kind of say Chief Soon Juan goes in with orange and teal cafe lattes? And
orange and teal cafe lattes.
Why must be loud hailer? Why you must bring up something from like 20 years ago and all that to typecast a opposition member?
But I meant that in positivity, he's that passionate.
Okay.
And I mean, it just feels like there's a lot more wiggle room. A lot more risk.
I did think about that.
Yeah, so then it feels like, and like what you said, Singapore is known for political stability. You attract these superstars here because everything is in order, Then you bring them on a week or two before election.
Yeah, exactly.
A bit weird. A bit.
And I mean, a lot of times when I travel to even in the region and everything, sometimes when you know the election is near, because you start seeing you see a lot of these posters everywhere around the streets, right?
Yeah.
And that immediately makes me ask, the guide or the driver, like, hey, got elections going on and things like that. Then usually I will get some disgruntled response, like, this one waste time one, that kind of thing, right? This guy's a loser and things like that.
Yeah.
So you can't control people's sentiments and how they present Singapore to other people lah. So like let's say you don't know what a driver or what will say as he drives past a poster of of opposition party member and things like that.
Because you got a lot of people flying in also.
Exactly. Yeah. Visitors, yeah. So
that's true.
Yeah, you also don't want to. I mean, the Singapore branding is we are very cohesive and multi racial, multi religious, whatever lah. Right? We're all together as one. But suddenly you see all these posters around asking you to vote this, vote that, choose wisely and all that kind of thing.
Then can you imagine like when they are deciding the date, like let's say PM Wong says, okay, I want to do end May.
Yeah.
And Tong Tong puts out his hand. So sorry.
Bit hard.
We got Lady Gaga the weekend before. It's like, fuck lah, why you go and do that?
But doesn't it say something that this Lady Gaga news sort of came out on like Monday, right? That, and then
then the
electoral boundaries things just came out like the day after, It's like it's all maybe it's all in together lah. Like Edwin Tong's like, hey, I got to finish the election first, then I can go to the Lady Gaga concert and then exchange friendship bands with the fans. If I do it before that, it's a bit premature, right?
Then it feels like I'm using Lady Gaga to get votes. I want to go there without worry. I want to go there, having proven that there is a mandate.
The mandate. We're going Lady Gaga and the mandate.
The mandate. I want to, just dance, man.
Yeah, just dance.
I just want to dance.
I see what you did there.
I just want to dance.
But that's it. I mean, you mentioned Lady Gaga, like, it's been on the news recently. Or that. I mean, I do like her more recent songs. Like, it seems to be harken back to the earlier days of Lady Gaga, like when she first burst on the scene. I mean, like, she was everywhere when she first came out. Poker Face, Bad Romance. I think kids were dancing to it. Bings were dancing to the rah 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 rah. The boomers were also having it on their cell phones and things like that. Correct. She was really like it at one point. Now maybe less so because a bit older, Taylor Swift, blah blah. But I think her latest album is good enough to make me like, oh, okay, interesting. I wouldn't if the chance came along, I wouldn't mind going.
Oh, really? Yeah. If the chance came along.
Yeah. A lot of things have to align for that chance to happen. Like being able to find time for it. Right?
I mean, if it's post-elections, a bit more time. And that's true also. Like after elections, if pre-elections, you know how busy people will be or not?
Exactly. Busy meaning like civil servants and all that.
Civil servants and all that, yeah.
No one has the mood to enjoy a concert. Because they'll be reporting, different things.
So all the analysis on Reddit, talking about never bring up Lady Gaga.
Never think about it. Only here. Because we look at everything. We read your EBRC report, but we also go and Reddit and go and talk to Lady Gaga fans and ask them what the hell is going on.
Wow. So in some way, they are both topics related to the election.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all together.
That's what you get on Yalla Butt, man.
This is what they come to Yalla Butt for, man.
Finding connections where connections don't seem to exist.
Correct.
Exactly. But yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So for you, definitely no, not going to Lady Gaga.
Yeah, same thing. If there's a chance to go, I would love to go because.
Would you pay for it? Would you pay for it?
Well, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I mean, she's an amazing performer, but I wouldn't. Yeah, because I don't think the tickets will be cheap.
They won't be, given that they are for the region and not just Singapore.
Yeah. Lady Gaga. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of the Yalla Butt community, what is your latest one Shiok comment, man?
My one Shiok comment, let me find it. I just saw it.
I have mine in front of me.
Okay, then you go.
It's from our last episode where we talked about, Tan See Ling's comment in Parliament, and I think you made a very impassioned argument against Chinese people speaking Chinese dialects in front of minorities, right? So Audrey H.M. Fang on YouTube says, the Chinese dude had no understanding and empathy for Harish. In fact, he made things worse by saying some stupid stuff. He needs to learn how to read the room and just empathize and acknowledge his friend's feelings rather than suggesting ways how to fix the problems. That's not what the Indian dude was looking for. Harish. What were you looking for?
Harish.
Yeah. What were you looking for, Harish?
So they basically took your advice to learn Chinese as
very literally literally like advice I'm giving you.
Thank you for your compassion and empathy. I hope you carried on listening to the rest of the podcast because that's generally what we do. I will vouch for Terence. There was one time, I think we have spoken about it before in the past, when we were in a meeting deciding the theme song for a TV show that I was the lead actor in, and they suggested a theme song that was heavily Indian. and 9 out of 10 people around the table just burst out in laughter, I think including myself. But you were the one who looked at me and said, Harish, I'm offended on your behalf. And then you stood up, but then the song still ended up the same song. But in that moment, I knew, hey, Terrence, I appreciate you, man, Terrence. The Chinese dude.
Enough space? Enough. I'm giving you the space, lah.
No, but I'm giving you a shout out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No. I say, yeah. I'm just saying that. I just want to make sure that you have enough space for your feelings.
Oh yeah, correct. That's why you were nodding at me.
I'll just keep quiet. I don't even want to acknowledge. I just keep quiet. I let you have space to talk. But I acknowledge your feelings.
So why is that your one Shiok comment?
No, I mean it's funny. Firstly, they spelled your name wrongly. They refer to you as the Indian dude and the Chinese dude. So obviously it's
that's
not
how
someone.
People see us.
Yeah, but it's fine. But it's just obviously not someone who is a regular viewer, lah. I think. I don't know whether they just saw that part or someone sent to them in like what the fuck kind of context. But we have the thing is we have a history of going to the edge in terms of like talking about some of these slightly touchier topics by Singapore standards.
And just considering the unpopular.
Considering. And we kind of parody or it's kind of satire sometimes when we speak to each other like that.
Yeah.
And I just found it funny someone really thought that I thought you should learn Chinese.
We should take that clip and just put it online.
Okay.
Oh, then you will be scolded like crazy. Then we put a clip with the rest of the thing. Oh,
this part where I give you space and
correct,
then the camera got to focus on me just like.
You want
for those listening, I was really enamored with what Harish was saying. My eyes were huge and open.
Not a rare occurrence. Not a rare occurrence.
Not a rare occurrence. It means
that you being enamored with what I'm saying.
Yeah. Not rare lah. Means
rare
I'm always
rare occurrence.
Oh, rare occurrence. Okay.
Fuck yeah, double negative. Rare occurrence.
Double barreled. You double barreled. What is your one Shiok comment?
My one Shiok comment came from a certain Jackson Fu on Spotify. For our episode 625 turbocharging inflation, GST debate heats up and pickleball noise wars. The one Shiok comment from this episode from Fazlan about how he is using this podcast to stay close to home hits hard because I had just found this podcast today in a bid to regain a sense of well-being I only have when I'm in Singapore. Singaporean in Los Angeles right now, thanking you for creating this hilarious podcast.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
Wow.
That's
LA.
awesome.
Wow.
LA.
Hope you're safe through the fires.
And all.
Yeah.
And I mean, safe through like the US now.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Jackson Fu, man.
Yeah.
Solid. Cool. And what about your one Shiok thing, man?
My one Shiok thing is, a friend of Yalabat. His name is Jackie, the comedian. Actually, about 2 months ago, he put up his half-hour or 35-minute comedy special called Cuckoo Bird of Value, a Singlish comedy special. He released it on YouTube. And I actually just watched it recently and I found it hilarious. It's amazing. You went to a live show, is it?
Yeah, it's great.
It's great.
The pigeon bit.
Yeah, exactly. The joke and all that.
Great, yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to point it out because I didn't actually watch the live show, but I watched the YouTube show and production quality is not amazing, but you're still very entertained by it. And I thought it's criminally underviewed. It's only got like 8,000 views after 2 months. And I'm like, I really think a lot more people should watch it.
Wow, solid.
Just to see the potential of like, Singlish kind of comedy, right? And how it can travel out of Singapore. So I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was great. I remember,
shout out to Jackie. Yeah.
I remember watching it, I was like, fuck man, that is a good set.
Enjoyable. Like you hear the audience like just laughing all the way. Even the times, and he does, I can see where he takes risks also in the sense of like telling longer stories, right? And I really enjoyed that too. And then maybe they don't laugh as crazily, but it's a nice story in the end. Yeah.
Wow, solid. My one Shiok thing is just this footballer that has been getting a lot of prominence, but he's really like amazing. This footballer called Lamine Yamal, who plays for Barcelona.
Yeah.
I think last night he scored again and he had 1 assist in the Champions League. And I mean, he's 17 years old. I think in the Euro Championships last year, at 16, he played for Spain.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have become so used to Ronaldo and Messi being like insanely amazing and like almost godlike level. But when you look back when they were 16 and 17, right, I think, Messi was amazing right from the start. But this guy, the maturity he plays with, the goals he scores, the fact that, like sometimes you see these really talented young players, but maybe they haven't gotten the maturity to, remain calm in situations. And you hear the legends of the game like Thierry Henry talk about Lamine Yamal and how impressed they are with his maturity. Is insane. And like he looks like he's been playing for years and he's only 17.
When you say maturity, what do you mean? Like, why do they say he's mature?
I think there was one anecdote that Thierry Henry gave, I think when there was one game where they had to win by a certain margin and they were down, and then Lamine Yamal equalized and there were a few minutes left, but he was the one who was telling his teammates to calm down.
I see.
Let's not rush it. Let's not go crazy. And Henry said that when he saw that, that's something that maybe to lay people like me, you don't understand, but on the football pitch, I think you need people to make sure that the momentum is not lost, calm down. He said watching Lamine Yamal do that, right? It's like, this guy's not 17, man. And so it's great, lah. I think maybe he's not getting enough attention because Messi and Ronaldo have set such a high bar.
Yeah.
But you look at him play at 17, holy shit, that's like poly JC level. No?
But you say that the calming down thing is a sign of maturity, right? But then those people who get very fired up, scold referee and things like that, like Bruno Fernandes, for example, Man U, does that mean he's a bad captain? He's not mature?
I don't think he's a good captain.
Oh, why? Well, I'm just understanding when you say maturity in a footballer, like, what does that mean?
Whenever you play a team sport, you want to have some people on the team, or ideally the captain, who feel like they are in control. And like Bruno Fernandes, as talented as he is, there's always something about him, like he's so emotional. It feels like he's off the cannon.
It amps up the emotional anger in everybody, right? When he's so emotional.
Yeah. And I played team sports, but like at the totally schoolboy level. But even then, right, it's like, when you want to run like a 2.4 or something, if you sprint the first 400 meters, the next 5 laps you are dead. And you need to kind of have that composure and all. And I think just hearing like the legends of the game talk about these sort of aspects and attributes of players makes you kind of realize, oh shit, he's something special. 17 years old. Insane. But yeah.
Interesting.
That was my one Shiok thing, man.
Cool.
Cool.
So, wow, exciting episode.
The next few months are going to be baller, man.
At least till May, right?
At least till May. Then we celebrate at Lady Gaga.
Rocking out, man.
We just dance. So if you have been listening to this podcast, if you enjoyed it, please tell someone about us and follow us on all our social media. So Instagram, TikTok, Spotify and Apple and wherever you find our podcast, YouTube. If you could leave a rating on Spotify, that would be great. I think now we're at 1,300 ratings of 4.8.
Yeah.
Why not bring it to 1,004, man?
Yeah. Keep going up.
Just give us a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
And if you want to work with us,
please check out ministryoffunny.com or email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you all soon.